Kat.
And I'm MELO.
This is Art and Inquiry.
And today's episode is going to be unlike any episode we've done before. And we're really excited to bring on another creator to share some insights and stories with us, because our focus today is art block, overcoming art block and sparking new breakthroughs and all kinds of inspiration, ideas, and creativity when you kind of feel like you're stuck and you need some help along the way. So we've run on the one and only Amber, who is going to hang out with us today, share some insights, and also share some inspiration. Now, since this is our first episode that we've done a interview, we have nothing prepared. So we're in this with you, and buckle up because this is going to be a wild ride. So let's go on, Amber. How's it going?
Good. Happy to do this. It's very fun.
Awesome. Well, we're happy to have you. Right? She says that now. We'll see what happens at the end.
I know, right? Well, so tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about the media that you like. What do you like to do?
So I like to do just about everything. Says what I tell everyone. I've made all sorts of things. I'm a multimedia artist. I work with traditional art, so paints, sculpting occasionally. I even picked up sewing recently, and all you name it. I've done it, just not oil paint. I haven't done that yet.
Oil paint.
I want to try it. I haven't gotten there yet. And then I also do digital art too. And I have a bit of a background in graphic design. So I've been doing art for about almost 15 years. I want to say. Wow. I started in 2011. So
it's a sketch pad. Good year. It's a good year. 2011.
I was like 16, I think, going on 17. So,
16,
I know. I
think there's a song about that.
Yeah, I think there's a song about that.
Well, and I just had my birthday on Friday. So
wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Happy birthday!
Yeah.
Okay, this is genuine surprise. This is the first time I'm hearing this.
Try this again, everybody. So, welcome, Amber. Happy birthday, Amber. Here's your birthday episode. Celebrate all these gifts that you got.
I know, right?
I know. I should be right there.
Right?
I'm sorry.
So the great thing is with this episode and the interview that we're going to go through is we'll have all the information that we talk about in the companion blog post. Definitely want to check it out for this one because we have all of Amber's links, and she also provided a gift, which we'll share at the end with everyone, and super excited to look through it. Stay tuned.
All the way until the end. All the way out.
Don't fast forward just because there's chapter marks. Okay? Don't.
Right. Let's not put chapter marks. Yeah, we'll make them watch the whole thing. Time travel, but the way that everything time travels. Minute by minute.
Timey-wimey.
Timey-wimey! Doctor Who reference.
No.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Absolutely.
All right. So the best way that we thought it would be to introduce Amber is, instead of giving words in her bio, which she did so eloquently, especially as a visual artist, one of the greatest ways is actually showing some artwork, right? And telling us a little bit about, the story behind it, the inspiration behind it, medium that you used, and where it came from. Because as we know, in everything that we do for Art and Inquiry, it's the why that matters more so than the what. So let's find some of the what she has done, and understand a little bit more of the why, and see if there's anything we can pull from there.
So I do a lot of things, like I said. And with this piece that we're showing right now on the screen, it's my digital art piece. I call it Fireworks because it's, of course, fireworks. And this features my main characters from my most recent obsession, I guess if you call it. Winston and all his friends and his family. So Winston is the little spotted bunny that you see in the left-hand corner. He's got his parents with him. And then he's got all the other little families that are in his neighborhood that are his friends. Like we have Stan the snake and his family. And then we've got Mal the duck with his sister and his dad's. And then my unnamed bears. I've yet to name the bear twins or their mom yet. But we're working on it. It's an in progress sort of thing. So it's sort of how it's been going. Everything just since I've started drawing these characters, it's been very much, let's see how it goes. And stories have developed as time has gone on to the point that now I actually have a story that I've made. So
Yeah. I find that really curious. Yeah, because this looks like a totally finished piece, right?
It does.
Yeah.
Full color, high fidelity. It's gorgeous. I love the fireworks.
Me too.
And
Me too.
So I
you just said it.
right. Cheated with the fireworks. I made those for another drawing, like so many years ago when I was drawing ducks, like personified ducks, like in 2015 and stuff. And I did it for like a 4th of July thing. And then I just like adjusted them and edited them a little bit. So I don't even remember how I made those fireworks.
Secrets in the sauce. Okay. It's top secret, top secret. But, looking at this, I know you mentioned the names of most of the characters, and then you had mentioned that the bears don't have names. So I find that kind of curious because I know that Winston, you have a whole book about Winston and it's been a main focus on a lot of your work. But even in this one that we would see as a finished work, to you, it's incomplete because there's a whole story that can still be built out. That's kind of interesting.
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's a couple of characters that still, they need more fleshing out, but we're getting there. I think the only parents that have official names are Ben and Jerry, which are
their names are Ben and Jerry.
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
It's actually inspired by real life blue ducks. That like blue ducks. I love blue ducks so much because they're just so fun. And I had heard this story about years ago when I looked up like different ducks, and I'd heard about these 3 ducks. They tried to have the female and the male. It didn't work out. And the male, so they got another male in, and the males bonded. So, and they called him Ben and Jerry.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, and I've been inspired by them ever since.
Part of me wants to know, you just said you were just Googling ducks. What kind of brought you to just searching for ducks? I mean, I'm just wondering.
Well, first off, my friends like to call it my evolution from obsession with dinosaurs to my obsession with ducks.
That tracks. Dinosaurs are birds. That tracks.
Yes. And it all started with just a weird conversation between my husband and I, where we were just talking about ducks. We'll take a walk around the pond in the town that we were going to college in. And this is before we were married, mind you. But we had a conversation, and then I don't know, out of nowhere, we just got to the topic of, hey, what if you drew personified ducks and called it duck service? Like fan service for ducks. So I spent like almost, I think I couldn't do a whole year of it, but I did several months of it. I think I did like 10 months of I drew a duck drawing every month.
Wild.
And it was all like different ducks, and I'd base them off real duck.
So interesting. What medium did you use, or did it make
digital art for it? Which is why it stopped, because my tablet at the time died and I couldn't get anyone.
See, that is the one problem with digital art.
Always need to be plugged in.
Always need to have some sort of a tablet or a computer or something that functions so that you can create it.
It's actually funny to see that when I think about it, my art, when I did all that duck service stuff, has actually changed to Winston and Friends in some ways.
That was my question. Yeah, because
really
you mentioned this is Winston and Friends, which is the bunny, not the ducks.
Yeah.
So interesting that you made like the main a bunny, not a duck.
Well, and it was completely unintentional too. It just, when I think about it, there was that progression, like going back to that. And then now in the future, when I started doing this, it just sort of like has pulled that forward a little, I guess you could say.
Well, how did you start drawing bunnies?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that started with, I had a sketchbook, and I had probably about, I think, 28 pages to finish off in the sketchbook. And so I was like, and it was like 2019 when I did this, before things changed.
Right. The world changed.
In the before times, yes.
In the before times, yeah.
So, and I wanted to fill up the sketchbook. I'm like, 28 pages. I could do a month challenge and for myself and just draw something every day. And I was like, oh, what do I want to do? I'm like, and I was really dealing with art block too. Even then I was like, I don't know what to do. And I tried other things. I was not having fun with it. like, what if I just draw bunnies and every day I'll pick something different to draw with the bunnies? And I think I did like a dragon bunny, a fairy bunny. I did Darth Vader bunny, different things. Also, yeah, they were just like sketches. And it was sometimes I let my friends and followers like on Facebook give me like a prompt for that day. They'd give me like, hey, I'd be like, I'd share it every day. I'd be like, you got a word, let me know. I might draw it. So
I like that. I like
that was sort of the beginning before I realized what was going to happen. And then it went the next year. I was like, I really liked it. And I decided to do it again. And I created a challenge for myself. And I was like, okay, I want to focus on a character and I want to practice colored pencils. So I made Winston in this little, and I think I shared the photo with you. It's this little, like I didn't even know his name. He was just a little bunny. And he was wearing a baby's outfit. And because I was like, what if it's April Fool's? And he got invited to a party.
Yes.
And he got fooled into it being a costume party and it actually wasn't.
Oh, look how mad he is. Oh, now I understand why he's so
love it.
mad.
Yeah, that
now I
was the
understand why
first
he's
drawing
mad.
of him that I did.
This is the very first one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So it's really interesting to see that this is where it started. And at this time I was thinking, okay, what am I going to do with this character? How am I going to make him? And I'm like, okay, maybe he just doesn't get along with the bunnies because of this whole incident. I had no name for him, nothing. Just like, let's draw him. Let's see where we're going with this.
So do you have a story in mind as you're drawing, or do you kind of start drawing and then things kind of come to life and you end up creating the story afterward? Like, how does that work?
I think it kind of is a little bit of both. It depends on the art. Winston definitely was one of those where the art came first and then the stories progressed. And now some of the art is based off story. But there still are types where it's like the word came first. And then we're like, oh, like I have destruction was one. And then I made a couple more pieces that could eventually be a story with it and coherent. And it's a sort of like, it kind of depends on the pieces. Some will come first when others don't. And then I like, with some of my, I have a comic that I do occasionally. I haven't touched it in a while. I need to get back to it. But that I get a lot of inspiration from dreams sometimes. So some of my art, especially my fantasy art, is inspired by some of my dreams that I get because I get crazy dreams. And then I also inspire, even some of this like fantasy art you're probably going to see later. Yeah, like this one. This was not entirely inspired by a dream, but it was also based on a little bit of a challenge originally too. But, I've got things that are based on real life, and the dragon is actually based on real life animals, like a real life, it's based off an salamander. So it kind of depends where I get my inspiration. Sometimes it's light, sometimes it's words, sometimes it's just my dreams or a conversation. So, and with like some of my fantasy art that has the skull creatures, those are kind of newer. And I've only started doing those in recent years too. And it's a lot of that. What if we had like, it started with doing mermaid, and it was like the word was tropical, I think. I never finished Curse of Mermaid. I just used tropical, and I think I went from there. For mermaid, inspired mermaid, like out the Oscar fish, which is why it's got orange hair and these spots and stuff. And I thought, Oscar fish are predators. So why not? I feel like this would be more of like a hunter, something that, gets really messy. And I thought, it'd be really cool to put like the mask, like the skulls on the face, or like use the weapons, kind of like use what it has around it to create clothes and weaponry. And I did that too later on. I think about a year later, I was doodling things like you'll see here. There's, you can see the 2 different years. These are 2 different years apart with the mermaids. And then there below, it's hard to see it, but there's like a sketch of another mermaid, below on the pad where it's, that's an anglerfish mermaid.
Ooh. Ooh,
And I
okay.
did, and I was doing this with a friend beside me. We were both drawing our own versions of an anglerfish mermaid. And so I liked it so much, I decided to make it digital because I wanted it to really glow. Like I wanted its hair to glow because I thought that would be really cool. And I thought, maybe they have their own ways. So I thought it was really cool to just bring that and thought maybe an anglerfish sets traps. That's why they have that, like, those glowing little bobbins or whatever. I don't know the anatomy of an anglerfish.
The little shoe.
Yeah. So I thought,
Yeah.
a little lamp on its head. But it since it uses it to trap and bait essentially for its prey, I thought it should use a net as its and why not a net of seaweed? And it's harder to see in this because it's like they live in the dark, deep waters. And then I really started getting into it a little more, and so I thought, okay, dragons and fairies fly, and so that's when I made the alm salamander into a dragon because I don't know why I wanted to do a blind dragon in his cave, and it's kind of sad because I imagine like when he's that bigger, when we call him Mushroom King.
I love it.
But like when he's little, he started out as a mushroom, and that came later because it's like I kind of want to do a story with him because I got people who want me to make stories with him because they really like it.
I mean, and I really like that story.
Yeah. I like it too. So much fun, and I love the glowing mushrooms because I based the fairy off of a type of moth that's found near caves, and I thought that was cool. And they were like orangish and purple, so all the fairies are based off that moth. I can't remember its name. I only remember the salamander.
Yes.
But I thought that was kind of cool. Like, hey, it's really interesting to be blind and, live in a cave. So they have like the blue tips and the pinks. And I'm like, let's like really saturate it because I love saturated colors and bright colors. And I thought, mushrooms would be kind of cool, make it glow so they have a little bit of light and keep it very like, and I based those off of real mushrooms as well that are found growing near caves, at least from what I could tell in my research. So.
Yeah, I was just going to say, something I'm hearing as we're talking about a lot of these different like sketches and illustrations that you've done is that there's research involved in it too.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask, like, what's your inspiration? Which I'm sure it varies, but it sounds like as you look up a random thing, like the Google Duck example, right?
Yeah.
You then kind of go down this path and then you're almost not, I guess, stuck for ideas in the same way because you're just finding random facts about certain real life things and then kind of using that as your ideas that are kind of threaded through your illustrations.
It's interesting that like the fact that you do so much research and that it inspires you so much. It's interesting to learn that you had struggled with creative block too. Because it seems to me like you do not lack ideas. Like it really does seem, you know what I mean?
Like, can I tap into her dreams? She said she has these really amazing dreams, and I'd like some.
No,
one of them I dreamt about blue mushrooms, so I had to add that to like this hat skull piece I was making because I wasn't sure what to do I wanted it in a field, but I'm like, what else do I do with it? So I added like these magical blue mushrooms with it and golden flowers. So that was very fun.
Are there things that you do while you're creating to help kind of keep you in that zone? Because like, as I'm listening, I'm thinking I've had ideas before, right? And I'm like, okay, yeah. And I like start drawing it out and typically pulling up Procreate because it's like fast, right? And then I get sidetracked, like, someone comes in the room or, what have you. Are there things that you do to kind of, I don't know, keep your creative element around you?
So some things it's taken me a while to get to this point. But like one thing I started doing was I keep a list of all the ideas I would like that just pop into my head. I'd been told by somebody, I think my husband suggested it, was to keep a list because I just constantly, when I'm talking with people, something clicks or, someone says something, I'm like, that would be really cool to make. So I just do that and I'll keep a list. And then other than that, I just sort of keep art all around. I just really have always liked bright, colorful things. I watch a lot of fantasy shows, drama, mystery, things like that too. So like TV sometimes inspires me. So if I get to the point I'm starting to like, okay, I can't break. I can't figure this out. I just had this recently, actually. I was like, man, I don't know what I'm doing. I have to take a break. I have to tell myself it's okay. I can take a break, you know? And it's just really hard. Yeah. And a lot of people I know struggle with that. And sometimes maybe I'll just take a day and I'll watch a little TV or play some games. Maybe I'll just go organize something. Or if I'm really feeling like, especially if the weather's nice, like it's starting to get now, I'll go for a walk with my husband, or I'll go take a drive somewhere. And I'm like, I need to get out of Dodge, as my grandma would say. So, just get out of
Change of
town.
scenery. Yeah.
And then when I come back and I've gone, hung out with people, or gone, just, done something different, I can come back, and usually, not always, but I start to feel a little better. And I'm like, okay, maybe I can tackle this now. It was a little like, maybe I don't have the idea yet, or I didn't know how to do it. Now I know, because I've been able to bounce it off or rubber duck it with somebody and talk with them.
Rubber duck it. Of course, there's a duck reference there, Amber. Of course, there's a duck reference.
I've only recently heard that last year. So
rubber duck it. Okay, I'm here for that. Actually,
I've never heard. This is my first time hearing that.
I mean, it's going to be trending soon because I love that.
Yeah. So I'll just rubber duck it off my husband usually, though.
Rubber duck
it. What does that mean? Like bounce it? Oh, bounce it. Yeah. Okay.
That's cool. Like, you're bouncing, like you're bouncing it off a wall, and you're like, sometimes I'll just tell him what I'm trying to do, what I'm thinking, and I'll tell someone else to do. It's like what I want to do. Like I'm trying to figure out how to do it. And maybe they'll tell me, oh, well, why don't you do this? And I'll be like, no. And I'm like, oh, but I could do this. And just like, so sometimes it's not even a lot of input coming from someone else. It's just more being able to get that out and say it and aloud and really like think with someone. But then even somebody might give me input and say, well, try something else, here's some other options, or break it down for me. And if I break it down for them, they can help me to understand it too.
Makes sense.
It does make sense.
Kind of interesting.
It really sounds like you have a lot of different ways in order to stay in the vibe. Like, do you ever struggle though with like getting back in the same mood? Like, so say you're in the middle of a piece, but you haven't finished it yet. Maybe you don't know how to finish it. Do you ever, when you go back, struggle with that? Or
yeah, I have a couple pieces that kind of are just sitting right now for various reasons. Maybe it's because I wasn't ready to do it, or I'm just got busy with something else. And so I'll just let them sit sometimes. I just had a flamingo piece earlier this year. I finished it I shouldn't say this year, it was last year. But like in the summer, I finished it. And it was this swamp thing I had done it like 2 years prior. I had painted it out. I did the whole swamp, just didn't do the flamingo in there. And so I was like, maybe I need to come back to that. I kept debating, like, I need to come back to this. I never came back to it for like 2 years. And then I did it. And then I was like, all right, it's like I'm painting something and I want to paint more. And I think I know how to do this now. So let's go for it. Other times, sometimes what I'll do is like, especially if I'm doing digital art or something that has to dry, I'll work on 2 pieces at the same time. So that way it's like, well, maybe I feel like I want to work on this piece right now more so than the other, or I want to work on that piece or something. And it makes things take a little longer because you get obsessed with one piece over another sometimes. But at the end of the day, though, it can actually be really good because then you got out of that other piece that was keeping you trapped. And even if you return to it or you don't, that's okay because you made something, which is really fun too. It's about making it, not necessarily about seeing. Like, it's fun to see where it comes at the end. I get really elated when I see a finished piece that I did, like when I finally finish something. But even if I just sketched it, or if I just had the process is relaxing and fun and almost therapeutic, I find.
Yeah. So common themes that we've discussed so far, it seems like doing research, being inspired by the world around you, getting feedback, taking a step back, right?
Rubber duck it.
Yeah. Rubber duck it. Yeah. Rubber duck it.
That's the main thing. I literally just wrote it down because that's
Really?
so I'm rubber ducking it. Like, all the time. I need like an emote for it. Watch out.
Right? Mello, that could happen. She might do that.
I absolutely will do that. What are we talking about?
Just get a little rubber duck across the screen. Go quack,
In
quack.
this episode, there will be a rubber duck. If you find the rubber duck, tell me the timestamp and you'll get a prize.
Ooh, that's awesome. I mean, I don't know what the prize is going to be, but we should definitely do that for one. But yeah, like taking a step back, things like that. Like it seems like you definitely have a sort of a structure, but one of the things that I'm really seeing in all of those things is being kind to yourself.
Yeah.
Like being and not putting so much pressure on yourself to see the finished piece or to it seems to me, it sounds to me like that's where the vibe is. Is that something that resonates with you?
Yeah, definitely. I was really hard on myself for a lot of time of my life. And life was not easy growing up. But, that happens. A lot of people deal with it. And one of the things that got me through it, and it's why I got into art, or partially why, is art was kind of a therapy for me. So it helped me to really get through my high school life, get through a lot of that trauma. And even when I'm like sad, I got to make something. I got to sketch something if I'm having a hard time. And it's kind of like meant to just it's kept me pretty zen or centered, I guess, whatever you want to call it. It's worked for me. And so I just like creating and I keep creating. And it's eventually I did get through a lot of that trauma and all those issues I had. And I've gotten to a point where I'm happy in my life, and the art's helped me to be happy in my life. And I love putting art everywhere and sharing it. And I like showing other people how to make it or help others like learn or figure out what they want to make. I've got so many friends who do art and they come to me and they're like, do you have this? Or can you help me figure out how to do this? And I'm like, yeah, like, let's do it. Let's sit down. Let's figure it out. Let's have fun with it.
Love that.
I love that too. I love that too. All right. So let's get into the books. Let's get into your characters.
Yeah. The book Amber has, it's on her Ko-fi as well. And we're going to take a sneak peek inside it. And Amber, if I remember correctly, you had talked about the characters that you created for this stemmed from like a personal challenge to yourself and creating the characters and then evolved into the book. Can you walk us through kind of the genesis of Winston and Friends, the origin story? We want to know the details.
Definitely. So I shared a few photos with you, so as you've seen. And again, it started with a sketchbook. 28 days. I wanted to fill up the sketchbook, get it done. And it just so happened to happen in April, as you can see by the dates in the corner. And I didn't even realize it until I looked back, but I had made some spotted bunnies. I like spots. I like spotted animals. They're kind of cute. I mean, all animals are cute, even the creepy, scary ones.
100% agree. We are speaking the same language.
Empatico.
So, yes.
I really like making cute things. I've always had fun with cartoons and cute stuff. And I love animals. I've always loved animals. I've been drawing animals on my books since I was a kid. But with this whole challenge and because it started as a challenge, started as the sketchbooks. And then the next year in 2020, I was like, I'm really struggling to figure out what to make. I don't have a job because I was jobless for 2 years. And I'm like, what am I going to do? My husband's working. I need to do something, but I don't have anything. I'm still working on my art, but I'm not feeling the love right now. I don't know where to go. And I'm like, I really like finishing up that sketchbook. What if I made myself a challenge? I've tried all these other challenges. I never finish them. So let's do it. I make a challenge. I put out a list and I call it the April Bunny Challenge for myself. And I just take all these random words. Some of them are words that my husband suggested. Others are just random words I found. I are generated and everything like on a word generator or something. So I'm like, okay, this is it. Make it. And I'm like, first word of the day, baby. Okay, it's April Fool's. What if I draw this bunny going to an April Fool's party, and sadly he ended up being the fool.
Oh,
yeah, it was kind of sad.
That's so sad.
I know.
Push it hard. I feel it.
That's this one right here.
I thought too with this whole thing, this is a great opportunity for me to work on my colored pencil skills because I need to do better with colored pencil. So I'm like, I'll only use colored pencil. And I also want to try and keep one character as the main character, the main focus, and just draw him the same way and keep him coherent because I struggled with keeping my characters in a coherent design and looking like, oh, that's the same character instead of looking like that's not the same character. You know how it goes. I wanted to get to that. It's this character. You know who it is when you look at him. And so it just so happened, I drew a little bunny in a baby outfit, getting laughed at, and he's grumpy and upset about it. So then it changed into, okay, he doesn't, like, I had best friend. Like, and I'm like, well, he's bestie, but I don't think he's getting along with the bunnies. So what if we made his best friend a duck? And thus, Mal, the duck, was born, which Mal is like mallard.
Yeah.
I think, I don't think I really had full on names yet. I'm not really sure when the names started, but they did all start happening within this first year of it. They just, like, Winston was just, I don't know why. Winston seemed like a really nice name. Maybe it's Winston Churchill. I don't know. I like British. So it's like, maybe that's why. I don't know.
I love
But
it. I
Mal
love
was-
that they have the same color outfit,
Yeah.
like the same. You know what I mean? Like this is the opposite of this, and this is the opposite of this. I love that.
Well, I know this
tried
isn't
to
like,
color.
yeah, and I know this
Go for
isn't
it.
like a composition a type episode, but just the way visually that this is created and the lines that you see, and you almost have like a heart shape that's created by them together, and then it pulls into the center with a heart shape with their hands, and then you have the heart in the center. Like it just draws you in and then pulls you back out. Like it's very cool.
I
Yeah,
didn't even
really is.
realize the heart shape with everything else. I just intended for like their little like EFF, like wristband things like to connect. Like how best friends have their little best friend bracelets.
Yeah.
So I thought that
I
would
really
be
want
kind
the beanie. The beanie, I want it. I'm just saying.
I want this. I want this one very much. Like I would love to wear Winston's beanie. So
Yes.
Well, I'm excited for that too. I was like, okay, how do I make these two look like they're real BFFs? Like, okay, they gotta have my colors. I think even when I did it, so at this time I was using 2 different colored pencils for Winston's fur to get his brown just right. And I had like a brown and a light brown. And I think I used those same ones to create Mal's feathers, except I reversed the colors just a little. I think I mixed them a little, but made one have more of the more orangey yellow tones, while the other one's more brownish. Which, I mean, of course, their colors changed a little as I went through different mediums. So, and I like the idea of swapping the stripes because I'm like, okay, we already know he's got a plain shirt from the day prior. Let's put this one in a striped shirt. Maybe like he wears they're wearing like little matching beanies to go along to correlate. And that would just be fun. Wasn't really sure what I was doing, except from like they had to be similar, and I wanted to limit my color palettes because I thought that would be even easier than having all this different color. So, but
and it's interesting too because your shadows are in purple, which would be like red and blue make purple. Like it's very like it's all very
There's so much.
yeah,
Very well done.
It makes them feel like
I think this was when I started doing because I had seen something about like when I was watching a lot of YouTube videos, and I was like, I saw someone say you should use purple when shading. And I'd seen it several times from other people. And I'm like, let's try it. I want to, and I still use purple. We're like a light purple to shade things when possible. Not always, but I do like to do it, especially with Winston though.
Well, it's brighter. You know what I mean? Like over black or over gray or something of that nature. It's brighter. Like it doesn't muddy the colors either. Like it doesn't water them down.
Making it fade.
Yeah. Instead of like the colors fading, they're gonna pop, but they're gonna pop backwards because it's a cool color.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was a lot of fun. And now like after Mal, it was like I think Easter came around a few days later, and I was like, okay, I want to do an Easter egg hunt. I think that would be fun to do like an Easter egg hunt. And so I did one, and I was like, I've got Winston over here, I got Mal under our table, and I'm just like, I need one more character. Because I feel like there needs to be more in this big old scene of an Easter egg hunt. And that's when Stan the snake was born. And that's 3 S's for Stan. You have to get it right.
We noticed. We love alliteration up in here.
Yes.
And so he sort of just came out as that kind of third character of like, and then it just became this trio. Love them. They're so sweet. And Stan is that little bit of a shyer character. Winston's very, very much himself. He'll go do everything. Mal's kind of like, yeah, let's go do that. They're like, go for it. And Stan's like, okay, I'll pitch it too. I mean, he's also like in the fray of it too a lot of times. And it's really fun. And with him, I also brought in those same colors from both Winston and Mal, except I didn't want him to have stripes. I didn't want him to have a plain shirt. So like, let's give him spots. And I left the sleeves on his shirt. Because why not?
Why not?
Because why not?
His shirt. And best joke I ever heard from this was when my grandmother said, I don't even think she was joking. I think she was actually serious. Because she said, it's so fitting that you would choose a snake, and a duck, and a bunny. They all lay eggs. I mean, that was just
absolutely. Easter bunny's lay eggs. I'm with her.
Definitely one of those moments where it's like, okay. I think
yes,
she
Grandma.
realized after.
Yes,
like,
Grandma. That's sweet.
But yeah, so that was like, their trio was started all within that first year. And then we moved on to another year. And I think I moved on from pencils to markers because I had found marker paper the next year. And so I worked with markers. And I think that same year I came up with his parents, like Winston's parents, because I hadn't drawn them before. And I even decided to do a Mother's Day and a Father's Day drawing for both holidays and just have him write with his mom and his dad. And I thought that was just so sweet. And I just, and of course, I think I brought in his stuffed bunny Rabbity, which is named after all of my toy bunnies I had as a kid called Rabbit, which I called every one of them Rabbity. So I'm like, yes, he's got to have one of his own.
I love it.
And then eventually I think I've done, let's see, I think I did watercolor a year after. And then I just kept progressing to, it's like, so it went colored pencil, marker, watercolor, digital art. And with the digital art is when I really got crazy too, because that one I made every single, I think I made so many characters that year with all of his family. And so it's like, we had we got to meet his cousins were created. His grandparents were made, like on both sides of the family. So we have Grandma and Grandpa Bun, Nan and Pop, that sort of thing. And I can't remember when the bears came into play, but they came into play at some point too. I think that might have been watercolor. Maybe, I'm not sure. I can't remember anymore. It's been so many. I've been doing this since, like I said before, about 5 years. I'm going on my 6th year for the actual challenge and everything. So it's been a lot. But it was in 2022 that I did decide to actually rebrand the challenge. And I decided to go from Bunny Challenge to Winston and Friends because it's like this. I don't want to just draw Winston anymore. I want to draw all of them. I want to maybe branch off and start drawing more characters with it. Maybe focusing on other characters. And I'm glad I did. And since then, that's what I've called it. It's the Winston Friends. And then it was, let's see, it's 2025 now. We released we're at a show, I think, and it was in 2022, 2023 that we released. We had been at I think it was in 2022, we were at a show in November. because I also do vending when I can. And so we were at this craft show. My husband was with me, and we're showing off. Like, I'm giving out coloring pages. I was still getting new to it. Only been doing it for a little bit, and my husband was just like telling everybody, "Oh, we're gonna make a coloring book." And I'm like,
"We are."
I went to the bathroom, came back, and on people, "We're gonna make a coloring book."
Don't you like it when people volunteer you? Like,
right?
Yeah.
I have an origin story just like that, actually.
You know what's funny is a year later, just under a year later, we released a coloring book. So we came to that show that second year. So that was that was 2023. We went to that show in 2023, and we had a coloring book with us, and we called it 30 Pages of Cuteness. Because it was just like,
that's honestly a great name for a coloring book. Like, I would legitimately buy a coloring book that says 30 pages.
Absolutely. I don't even need to flip the pages. Like, I already know there's going to be 30 pages of cuteness. I mean, sign me up.
And they're single-sided. I was like, we got to make this single-sided. I don't want to have them having to pick and choose because I hated that as a kid.
Absolutely.
I didn't want to have to deal with the bleeding and the picking and the choosing. And then I also put a prompt list in the back of the book because it started as a prompt list. And it started with 30 days. So why not have 30 pages? I made 4 art pieces that were specifically made for this coloring book. And I made the fireworks scene that we showed earlier. I made Winston's parents dancing and this doing the polka. So it was very pretty. Yep. I did this sled scene where it was done in ink, and it was the first time I showed Mei, which is Mal's older sister, and she is this little white duck with black spots and black bill and everything, and she's a bit older, so sometimes she picks on her little brother and her friends. But then she's got her own friend group now too, Dave the fox and Vanessa the gecko, the leopard gecko. So
what's funny is, as I'm listening to you describe these characters, they all have their own little personality, their own little stories behind it. And I find it interesting because you had started with, the bunny piece and you wanted to do more characters. And I can see being in that position and being like, okay, but I'm trying to stay focused and do the bunny. Right. But there is this other side of why not? Right. If you're the artist and you're creating something and you want to explore something, why not? Why do we almost get in our own way and limit ourselves? Through these characters, it gives you an opportunity to explore different things you couldn't with one character if they have different backgrounds or they're going through different things. I'm kind of curious, is a lot of this stories that you've went through, or you're kind of creating these stories as a way to help others go through certain things? And tell us a little more of that.
It's a little bit of both in some ways. I've done drawings where it's photographs and they're at the pool and stuff. And I kind of like it. Kind of like a scrapbook or something, photo album, inspired designs. And some of those scenes where it's these places, that scene for sure was a little inspired by what I've done myself, when I was a kid. Some of these fun things you do when you're kids, when you're a kid, you're with your family or your friends. So there's some parts of it definitely inspired by my own life. It's little things. Sometimes it's how a character acts. You're just completely you. And that's what you should be, is completely you. And other times I think about my friends and I think of my family, and I've got family and friends who have kids now too. So it's I'll think about them. And I did daycare for 6 years. I took care of kids for 6 years. And so, and that was end of high school and through my college time. And I really interacted with a lot of them, and I got to see how they act and how they needed things. So it's a little hard to explain, but it is inspired by my own experiences, but the experience of others too. And some of it's a little bit of hope. I don't have kids of my own as of yet, maybe one day. Some of these stories, especially with how Winston Street is kind of how I would hope to treat my own child if I ever have one.
Yeah.
And so a little bit it's or kind of how I wish I was treated too. Listening to your children, understanding them, in the story that we created, which by the way, my husband also went and said, we're going to make a story. Didn't even consult me. I mean, we talked about it, but there's no like confirmed date for a while. And it's still not released, but it will be released at some point. I'm hoping by summer we'll figure something out. So, but it is finished. So in the story, we talk about moving because I thought, I like to think of Winston as kind of being mixed. His dad's a white bunny and his mom's a brown bunny. I'm a mixed kid. I'm Hispanic and I'm also white. My mom's white. My dad's Mexican. Cool. It doesn't matter, but it is nice. It's cool though in its own way. And they come with their own challenges because of family diversity and thinking about, okay, my dad's family is way different than my mom's family. There's a whole different dynamics there, which is fine. And my thought was with Winston's parents, it's kind of an interesting idea of, let's just say, they have different family dynamics. Maybe, and I thought with Winston being his name, at some point it became, he's from the UK or like a UK.
Oh,
so
okay.
Maybe he's still English, but it's not our English, It's a little bit different. Dialects are different and actions are different. How they see things are different or how they act. Maybe they have different traditions than the other side of the family does. And maybe they have a lot of similar traditions. I have to say that because that's a good way of explaining who Winston is now and who his family is.
Identity is important.
The idea is his parents are trying to help their son. And it's also okay it's good to know where you come from and who you are, but you also are just what you choose to be at the same time.
Yeah, very true.
It's like, who do you want to be? And so that's where Winston became this little bunny of, he just does his own thing. He's got to get through life like everybody else. It's hard dealing with moves. Like that's what this is starting with. We're moving to a whole new place because moving is tough, but your life can also change for the better sometimes. And that's sort of what we wanted to tackle. I thought, he's got to have his origin story.
Super excited to see where it continues to go. And I think in even just today's conversation, we've learned so much and it's been really great just hearing some of your stories. And I guess it just kind of feels, at least for me as a fellow artist, like I'm not alone in some of those struggles. And, it can be difficult to keep yourself creating and stay creative. And some of the tips that you had shared, about if it's changing scenery, if it's, ultimately just taking it easier on yourself and like loosening up a little bit, trying something different. I think the research part that you mentioned was kind of interesting. And I personally want to do even more of that thing because I always joke I go down rabbit holes, but maybe it's okay. And even if it's, writing down a list of things like you had mentioned, just so even if it's not an idea for now, it's still an idea that could be used later. But hands down from all of your tips, I think the rubber ducket, that's a thing now. So rubber ducket.
I didn't come up with it. Someone else did. I know, but props to that.
Totally.
So would the best place to follow you, to stay in tune on everything that you're doing, be like your Linktree obviously has all of your socials, but do you also post on your Ko-fi, like the different updates and things?
I'm trying to post when I can. Ko-fi does pretty much stay up to date. Otherwise, I am posting a lot right now on Blue Sky. I get updates on my whips and what I'm doing. Like
we did just add you too, because we have a Blue Sky feed for Art Inquiry. So you'll be on there. So everyone can find you easily on our feed. And then in addition to that, in the companion post, we'll have all of your links. And usually in this part of the episode, we actually talk about a creative challenge for everybody listening. And I feel like we're kind of stacking the deck because you gave everyone so many tips and tricks on how to be creative and talked about creating all kinds of things.
Now it's your turn. We all work together on this. We wanted for you to try your hand at creating an original character, whether it's, something like Winston, or maybe it's cosplay, or maybe it's just, a little guy that's made out of your hand. I don't know. I'm not going to come up with all the ideas for you.
That's brain fingers.
The brain fingers.
What happened off camera joke, everyone?
Off camera that all of a sudden became on camera. Catalyst has brain fingers, everybody.
If they're right here, they're my brain. But If you don't have brain fingers, I don't know what we're doing here.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And if you really need prompt ideas too on like how to make your character, I mean, Amber's got tons of lists of different words. Like steal one of those words, or you know what, rubber duck it,
or rubber duck it.
It doesn't have to use a word, any word. Have fun.
So when you're done with that, just make sure to share it with us and Amber on Blue Sky using the hashtag ArtInqMe.
ArtInqMe, do it.
Yep,
fun stuff.
Let's see that art.
We've led Amber down this path like this is over, but really it isn't, because now's the most important time, Amber. Are you ready? Quick sketch, Q&A. Rapid fire questions. Catalyst and I are going to ask you some quick questions. Now, these answers are so incredibly important. You'll notice by the type of questions that we're asking that this is
100%.
life-changing.
This actually is the interview right now.
This is the interview. Yeah, the beginning was just an intro, everyone. This is the interview. This is Amber. Hi, Amber. Welcome in. Are you ready for a quick sketch Q&A?
Let's go for it.
Quick sketch Q&A. I love that. Oh my gosh.
Right.
I love it. I love that.
First question. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner?
Lunch.
Ooh, why?
I don't know. I don't really eat breakfast. I'm an afternoon type gal.
Okay.
What
I
about
eat
breakfast
for
What
lunch
about
or
breakfast
meal.
for dinner?
And midnight.
Yeah, like what about breakfast or dinner though?
Midnight snack. Oh, yes.
Nice.
Definitely.
What's your favorite dinosaur?
The irritator. Bet you haven't heard that one.
I sure have not.
Yeah, I know like T-Rex and like Brontosaurus. Like
Irritator has been my favorite one ever since I've heard about the fact that it baffled scientists with its snout. I don't know if any information has changed, but when I last heard, it baffled scientists because its entire snout was made of cartilage. So they weren't really sure on how that was made and how it actually looked. Kind of like our noses, our cartilage.
Yeah, I was going to say, our noses all made of cartilage?
I thought that was really cool.
Maybe it was like an evolutionary path that could have led to us. Like we could have ended up being lizard people.
I've seen videos on that. Yeah,
yeah, right.
Some people think they are lizard people,
or to do the Doctor Who reference. We could have been Silurians.
Yes,
right?
That would be cool. Or potatoes.
Or potatoes.
All right, Amber. If you had a superpower, what would it be?
Oh, I would want to transform into anything.
Oh, okay. Shape-shifting.
Same. All right, same. That would actually be so great.
Character. I had that.
That would be so great. Okay. Favorite snack?
Snack?
Mm-hmm.
Did you say? Ooh, yeah. Ooh, that's hard. Oh, honestly, right now it's sugar cubes.
It's like straight up sugar. Like you don't need everything else diluting it. Like I just want the sugar.
Amber's a unicorn. Unicorns like sugar cubes. This makes perfect sense. Like this actually totally tracks.
All right, let's see. So, if you could only use 3 colors in any art for the rest of your life, what would they be?
Okay. Well, you know what? You probably saw this coming, but I think it would have to be blue, red, and purple.
Okay. We'll go with that.
Fair enough. I mean, actually, I think purple, you could actually get away with saying that purple is part of blue and red. So
I could.
You did get away with saying that.
Catalyst is trying to give you 4. You see this? She's like,
I found a
loophole. I found a loophole.
We just did all the 3 main colors, the red, yellow, and blue. That doesn't make anything.
That's 100% true.
100% true. Now we can't use that question anymore. That's for sure.
I know, right? I know. You just won that question. Like
you won.
You won that question. That question's retired now. It's first time and the last. Okay, so we talked a little bit about Copics, but what's your favorite? Are those your favorite type of markers? Is that your favorite?
Yeah, I would say they're expensive, but I go out of my way to get as many as I can.
I mean, I don't blame you. They're amazing. They're the industry standard for illustration. They're amazing. I don't even have any, and I know they're amazing.
I love them. I know I just got a random one recently because they had their a random marker giveaway back in January where you paid $1 and you got a free marker. or basically a free market. You just paid $1.
Cookbooks are expensive. Yeah, paying $1 is free. Yeah.
You know what? It's so good. It's so good.
What was the color? What was the color of your free market?
It ended up being a color I already had.
Oh,
But that's fine. It was like a canary red or some sort of red. So no one uses all the time.
That seems useful though.
Oh yeah, if I don't use it, I'll give it to a friend.
There you go.
All right, my last question for you is, if you think back on like any illustration, any drawing, any sketch, anything you've ever done, you could make it a real life object, what would it be?
Oh, that's a good question. Honestly, it would probably have to be that the mushroom, the baby mushroom king one where he's on that.
Yeah, that glows. The mushroom glows.
I would love that, especially if I could get it made into a snow globe.
I love that.
I think that would be
amazing.
So beautiful.
Yeah, that would be so.
What would this still be?
It's a gold.
What if it's like glitter? Like, because you don't even have to do
like
snow.
glitter.
You could do like glitter or something.
Yeah,
cool.
like that's what I mean.
Or like UV reactive, like something that was UV reactive. That'd be really cool
I would love that.
Right?
Yeah.
Anyone watching this knows how to make snow globes? Please reach out to us.
I would love to find out because I want one. I want to make one or at least buy one. So I think it would be cool.
100%. My God, I literally had my last question and then we started talking about snow globes and glitter and UV reactive. And here's the thing. I'm a magpie and we talked about something shiny and glowing.
Yes.
So now I don't remember the question. Hold on. Oh. What's your favorite? Like, what's like, give me a couple of examples of like something you'd have on your playlist while you're drawing.
Witch core.
Ooh.
Definitely
Nice.
Witch core, punk, and shochins. That's the best I can give you.
Wow, what a combo. Okay.
Love that.
Well, this has been absolutely fantastic, Amber. You sharing your insights, your story. It feels like we've gotten to see just your journey even. And I think a lot of the insights you shared are going to be helpful for all of us, even if not right at this moment, if we jot things down like you had suggested to, and reference them, because art block sucks. Let's be honest. It's not cool. And everybody goes through it. And to see that there's a lot of different things you can try, and maybe something that works one time doesn't work the next time, you'll figure it out. So really can't thank you enough for joining us today. And in addition to all the insights you shared, you also have a special gift for our viewers, which we're super excited to share with everyone.
But yeah, there's a little 10% off coupon that you can use, and it will get you 10% off any and every item in my store on Ko-fi. So you get shirts, you get prints, you can get stickers, pins, original art is also for sale on there. I think that pretty much covers it. I got like tons of stuff on there, and I might have more stuff coming later, and this coupon is good until the end of the year. So have fun with that.
That is so great. Thank you so much for that, Amber. We really appreciate it.
I love the name of it. Co-Fight Art Block.
Yes.
Art Block. I see what you did there.
Actually, I can't take credit on that. My husband came up with that one.
I love that it's a collaboration, though. I mean, and
it's a collab. It's a collab,
right?
Yeah, and I love that. And I love that you guys wrote the book together too. Speaking of,
we just wonderful so much together. It's so fun.
Did you have any last advice for any creators out there?
Just always have fun. Keep drawing. Look at everything around you. And when you do research, you never know what you'll learn. Get smarter every time. So
you heard it here first. Keep learning.
Fun with it. If you want to join in my little challenge next month and draw, you're welcome to join in that. You don't have to, but I'd love to see other people make my art too. That's fun to see.
That. Absolutely. Oh yeah, absolutely. We'll have this in the companion blog post as well.
Thank you so much, Amber. This is really appreciated. This is so much fun. And with that, I'm MELO.
And I'm Kat.
And this is Art and Inquiry.